All right. Welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program. Target Individual Experience. Leaving now. Look. I was just talking about the white vehicle with the other TI that I met, what was it, about a couple weeks ago? And it was a white vehicle in the New York Predator Department. Right, using their sirens. Listen, so, what an interesting day, right? How they engage in certain things. When I start to speak the truth about who they are, right? They try to prevent me from posting on Facebook. Literally could not post the the text or the description of the video, right? Whenever I post a video from YouTube, right, usually within the screenshot of the post, particularly if it's a YouTube video, it has the title of the video. They prevented that from happening also. I'm like, wait a minute, I've never seen that before. And so I had to literally, I said, okay, they're messing with my computer, my PC. So I had to restart my computer and
listen, I read all the calendars. I know.
I was able to, again, post on Facebook and to grab text and post it in in my post, right? And I talk about they hate the fact that, people recognizing who they are, right? By looking past their fake persona, their fake imagery, and to see them for who they are. Predatory occupying forces within the black community. How they engage with black people is predatory, it's aggressive, and violent. And like I said, we need some soldiers who are going to bring the fight right back to them in whichever manner they want to engage in. And I'm not saying anybody to go out there and do things on purpose. What I'm saying is that when they approach you and they assault you, that you have the ability to protect yourself against them, because you do have a right to protect yourself against predator officers who engage in brutalizing you and harming you, particularly if you've done nothing wrong, right? You have that right. And don't ever let them make you believe that you don't have that right to protect yourself against them. Okay, you have that right. Just as how they cannot come into your home without a warrant, but we see them walking into people's home and sticking their feet in the door and blocking people from closing their door. I mean, when I talk about a predatory, well, that's all across America any damn way. Predatory policing, right? That's what they do. Remember, they will try to project who they are onto us. But if you look at the police, the precinct, and it's not if you look at the system, right, as itself, you're talking about, predatory lending, predatory behavior, predatory theft of black people's home. The word predatory is always in front of it, right? I want you to understand that, right? So the system tells you that it's predatory, right? You will engage in interaction with a predatory police officer and they will abuse you, and you don't think of them as being predatory? Like, come on now. Like I said, you have to recognize them for who they are, right? And the fact that when I was posting about the predatory behavior of those in positions of authority, that was when they were trying to prevent me. I think that was at that post that I was going to post that they were preventing me from actually, because I couldn't share it because I had to do a search on Google, right? So, the AI gives you a summary of all these different articles, and it gives you a summary of what these articles are about. So when I try to do copy and paste, like I copy, but I couldn't paste it, right? Because they prevented me from posting it on Facebook. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to just read a little something of what it is that I was posting on my Facebook page, so you guys can see, right? And like I talk about. Let me tell you, hilarious, man. All right, come over here and say whatever the hell he said, and he just shut up, right? You see what I'm saying? They walk past me and say some shit, and then all of a sudden you won't hear anything else afterwards, right? You know, it's hilarious, man. Like I said, just listen to what they say in the manner in which they say it, right? The extent of what it is that they say. Right? You guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. Think about when you watch my video, understand when I talk about coercive persuasion programming, you got to understand what coercive persuasion programming is and what a coercive persuasion program is, right? Then when I talk about zero sum, you need to understand what is I'm talking about when it comes to zero sum, which is the decomposition of human being, right? Their psychology, their social standing, their economic status within the society that is purposely done by the state in order to render them neutralized or to neutralize them. Okay. So yeah. Where are we here? Trying to look for that post. All right, here it is. All right. So on the post, which I had to again do a screenshot because I couldn't. Right, so it talks about the. Oh no, jeez, difficult to do this here. Jeez, come on now. All right, so okay. So the word that he said, right, as he was walking by, right, cereal. I want you to understand how quick they can transmit sound words into people's mind, okay? And it is not supernatural. It is not seeing the future, anything like that. It is them using radio wave frequency to make people say things as they walk by. All right, that's the purpose of silent sound. It's to hijack people's consciousness. As I was talking about this, he walked by. You know, as I was talking about, the post that I made in terms of what it is that they do, right? Okay, so it says when your purpose is greater than theirs, right? They will try to stop you from exposing their lies, deception, and their manipulation. Understanding the dark triad personality traits of some of the people in positions of authority and how they project and create their dark personality trait within members of society, created or attempting to create their dark personality traits within their victim, using trauma-based mind control within society to take the focus off of who they are so they can get away with the crimes their heart desires, right? The same crimes they will arrest their victims for. So again, what I'm saying is that you have people in positions of authority, whether they work in the CIA or the FBI or the NY Predators Department, in terms of manipulating people, right, to create crimes. Right, I give you guys an example. You had these not homelessly, but these cognitively challenged black men, right, poor. They went into areas, into mosques where people are poor, and recruited black men, right, to place incendiary devices next to synagogues, right. Now, of course, the device that they were given to them by an FBI agent, right? Now, again, and I talk about how they know what it is that they're doing. So they know that these victims were unable to rationalize what was being done, particularly with the promise of money, right? Promising them, a couple of $100,000 grand or what have you. When you're poor and you're destitute and you have, cognitive issues, right? They understand how easy it is to manipulate you, right? So now they've created victims. They've victimized these men, right? Discounting that they have cognitive disabilities, okay, and then to arrest them for terrorism, right? For something that they know that was fake, and what have you, right? And then getting the conviction of those men. I mean, I talk about this system and what it does and how these white supremacists operate. When I talk about the white savior complex, we have a lot of sick, insane people, right? Literally, dark tribe personality types, right? Crazy ass people who are in law enforcement, or I say predatory law enforcement, that they would do things like this. Because I'll tell you what, they would not do it to a white person who was mentally or cognitively damaged in any form, in any way. They would not do it. But again, because they can always target the black community and black people, and because they understand that black people is going to also side with them and their crimes, is why they continue to do what they do. Okay, you got to understand that. So anyway, I forgot what I was. I've been talking about that. I just got so passionate about it, I forgot. But anyhow, I just want to show you guys again how to do walk by, and what the word he said serial something, and then that was it, right? Because that is an example of how, when I'm talking about something, that they will use silent sound, right, to put the voice, to put to hijack their consciousness to make them say things. Okay, so all right, so let's see. So AI, and again, you'll see here. All right, so shit, come on now, let's do it. All right, I want you guys to see it. Okay. All right, serial abusers in position of authority use psychological projection to deflect accountability by accusing victims of the abuser's own harmful behaviors, thoughts, or insecurities. They treat victims as emotional dumping grounds, blaming others for their own flaws to protect a fragile ego and maintain control, often creating a distorted reality where they are the victims and the victims is the aggressor. Okay, tactics and so core tactics of projected abuse, blame shifting. Come on now, blame shifting. Abusers attribute their undesirable action, example, dishonesty, disloyalty, anger, to the victim, making them scapegoats. All right, deflection and distraction. By accusing victims of being overly sensitive or aggressive, the abusers shift focus away from their own toxic behavior, gaslighting, and reality distortion. They convince victims that the victim's perception are wrong. I've been told that many times when I complain about my targeting, right? Are wrong. Force. Yeah, look. Yeah. The person threat. She ain't talking to nobody. Right? Those are all curse threats that they're sending, because they all stopping right behind me and saying these things, right? Let me read this over again. Gaslighting and reality distortion. By accusing victims of being overly sensitive or aggressive, the abusers shift focus away from their own toxic behavior. Right? Did I read this already? Gaslight and distortion. They convince victims that the victims' perceptions are wrong, forcing them to question their sanity, while the abusers or the abuser maintain a false superior self-image. Okay? insecurity projection. Abusers project their inadequate or shame by criticizing victim, aiming to make the victim feel the same worthlessness they feel. So there's a part 2 to this. Let me and because I have to do two screen grabs. Shit, come on now. I just saw a bus coming. Did they turn? I think did they detour the bus, or or was I just speaking and I missed the bus? I don't think I saw a bus pass by. Okay, so let's talk about this now. Aggressive managers, right? Let's look at the unfaithful. The unfaithful authority, an authority figure who violates trust and acts unethically, will claim you're trying to sabotage me, or you're dishonest, or preemptively discredit the victim. All right. So again, recognizing the pattern, it says understanding that the accusation is actually a confession of the abuser's own fault, right? So when I talk about the New York Predator Department, right, which again, this is a subset of the New York Police Department, which is a subset of the New York Police Department, and they're blinking their lights. Look at that. Come on now. Come on now. Yeah. See what I tell you? So they'll send their cronies. They'll send their cronies to engage in coercive threat, and then they'll show themselves afterwards. All right. Okay. Let me tell you. So I saw a bus. I don't know if the bus got detoured, or as I was talking, did I miss the bus? I'm not even sure. You know, I was trying to read, or at least I thought I saw a bus. Maybe it was a reflection on the. Well, I don't think so. I don't know. But anyhow, let me check the bus schedule and see what time the bus is coming. And again, I want you to understand how quick they move, right? And through surveillance, right? That they feed their perps information. So as I was talking about that, you can't, because I was going for the article. So I was looking at my phone, showing you guys the article. That's why I said, you see what he just said, right? And so when I opened the articles, there you go, because they knew this is how fast they're moving, right? Because they know that they can't manipulate me into believing that nonsense. So now they're moving in a way in which, it is like instantaneously now, right? Because they try to get me to believe. I don't believe, right? I don't believe. I have knowledge. Okay, I have knowledge, not belief. I have knowledge of the technology that they use to manipulate us, to hijack our consciousness, to put words, thoughts, ideas into our mind, to command us, right? Without us even knowing it, because they use our own inner voice to do so. All right, the technology is called silent sound sped spectrum, or S-Squad, or SSSS. It is a subliminal pulse. It is pulse radio wave. It is radio frequency that is pulse modulated, right? In which they can produce audible language by using your own inner voice, right, to send you subliminal messages. Unlike V2K, which projects sound within your mind, but V2K, you are hearing somebody else's voice. Silent sound, they're using your own inner voice. Okay? Understand what it is that they do. So you can't imagine, because you don't know these technologies exist. So if they're manipulating your mind, you thinking that those thoughts are your own thoughts, right? But it's not. This is what they're doing, and you got to see. Now I can recognize when it's my thoughts and when they're putting thoughts into my mind. And like I said, this is why they cannot manipulate me anymore in ways that they've done in the past. And because they know this, and because they know that I know, also because they know that when they hijack my consciousness, I can recognize it for the most part. right? So they're doing things in a more in a very shortened period of time, right? So people walking by me, if I'm talking about something, they will say something. They'll wait around, right? If I say the New York Predator Department, they'll turn on their sirens, right? Because again, my phone, BCI, they have multiple ways in which to violate my privacy. What I wanted to do. Oh yes, the bus schedule. So notice how the bus is taking very long, right? It is 9:33. All right. The bus will be here in 12 minutes, and then look at the next bus after that. 65 minutes. Look at that shit. Right? That is appalling. It's just the Brownsville. That is appalling. Look at this shit. So I did see a bus, but I think they detoured the bus. The bus turned. Right? So when they do stuff like this, again, it's because they're setting up their perps on the next bus so they can engage in whatever target and method they want to engage in. All right? Again, that's why I have to show you guys the transit app, because on a Monday night at 9:33, there should be no way that anyone should be waiting 65 minutes for a bus to come, for a transit bus to come. It's ridiculous. But I always got to prove what I say. All right, and like I tell them, the TI called me tonight, and he was around the neighborhood. Look. He was around the neighborhood, and I call him when I get in the house. But I gotta talk to him because me being the TI, it is very uncomfortable that if you don't just show up where I'm at, give me a call first. So I have to discuss that. All right, I like her walk. Some of these women, the way they walk, I'm like, okay, yeah, walking very feminine, like a model, But yeah, as I was saying, so there's certain things that I'm just not comfortable with as of yet. So I know the brother probably means good. Want to drag me out the house, listen, you guys see what I do. My kids are very important to me, and making sure that I teach them certain things and they become aware, even though it's very difficult. Oh, look. I just turned around, right? New York Predator Department. Silent sound, right? Controlling my direction. Then, this is what I talk about, right? Look. I'm letting you guys see exactly how they use silent sound spectrum technology to literally hijack my consciousness to do things like that. I'm just standing here. I just turned around. New York Predator Department. Vehicle right there, right? Again. And they're doing this because, again, they want to, I guess they got to the point now where it's like I've exposed them so much that there are people out there who are actually listening and realizing and doing the research of these technologies. And with their mindset, of course, the dark triad and position of authority, or we can do whatever we want. With the New York Predator Department, right? We can do whatever the hell we want. We can violate your rights. We can, plant drugs on you. We can do all that stuff because we're going to get away with it, right? That is their belief. We can engage in non-consensual human experimentation, illegal microchipping of human beings without their consent, because we're the New York Predator Department. And Trump is in office now, and Trump is pro-police, and all this stuff, right? I keep telling you, they wait for their bad leadership to get in positions of authority and power, and then they will show you who they truly are. Right? While they try to project their bad dark triad personality traits onto others. Today I was in the house and I was singing a song. Whenever they target me, I start singing a song. Right? I make up a song, and I know it gets to them, right? Because cops have very fragile ego, right? No matter what they say, right? And the reason, again, it's not their fault. Some of them have they come into the police department with fragile egos, right? Because we know that the psychological screening for cops, particularly white racist cops, is non-existent. Non-existent. You know what I'm saying? And how do I know that? Because again, when you have cops who have been benched because they shouldn't be on the streets, they put them back on the streets. And what does the top psychiatrist within the police department are able to do? Nothing. Nothing. Right? Nothing at all. And they wouldn't do anything. But you see, if that was me, I'd have been like, nope, these people should not be police officers. Right? But they do nothing because, again, it is their way of saying, well, it's out of my hands, right? No, it is your responsibility to make sure that these certain types of officers do not belong on the police force. But yet, they will talk about black men and women raising single mother home as being that they're not emotionally able to handle that job, right? Which is a lie. Which is a lie. I keep saying the people who they try to do these projections off is the people that you need to really listen to and understand to see what's going on. Okay? Go ahead, man.
Thank you. Go, step up. Look where you're going. All right, thank you.
It's not working so good. This machine. This is hilarious.
Next
Yeah,
stop,
turn off the machine.
Church Avenue and Rogers Avenue. This stop is Church Avenue and Rogers Avenue. Please exit through the rear door. Next stop, Church Avenue and Mastron Avenue. Train train, B35 Limited, B44 and B44 SDS.
Let's do it over here. Ran all good.
This stop is Church Avenue and Mastron Avenue. through the rear door. Next stop, Church Avenue and New York Avenue. Transfer available to B44. This stop is Church Avenue and New York Avenue.
I'm sorry.
Next stop, Church Avenue and Brooklyn Avenue. This stop is Church Avenue and Brooklyn Avenue. Please exit through the rear door.
Okay.
Please exit through the rear door. Next stop, Church Avenue and Troy Avenue. This stop is Church Avenue and Troy Avenue. Please exit through the rear door. Church Avenue and East 48th Street.
Think it's coincidence?
This stop is Church Avenue and East 48th Street. Please exit through the rear door. Next stop, Church Avenue and Utica Avenue. Transfers available to B35 Wilmington, B46 SBX. This stop is Church Avenue and Utica Avenue.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Hey, man.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please exit through the rear door.
How are you?
Next stop, Church Avenue and East 52nd Street. This stop is Church Avenue and East 52nd Street. Please exit through the rear door. This stop is Church Avenue and East 56th Street. Please exit through the rear door. Next stop, Church Avenue and Kings Highway. Transfers available to B35 Limited and B7. This stop is Church Avenue and Kings Highway. Next stop, Church Avenue and Bryson Avenue. Transfers available to B17, B47, and B8. Please exit through the rear door. This stop is Church Avenue and Bryson Avenue.
Thank you. Have a good night. All right. I know. Time for me to do laundry. When they start doing stuff like that, stop. I better do laundry. What are you folding your lips for, girl? Why are you folding your lips for? She folding her lip like I know her. I don't know you. Looking at me like that. Keep telling you. Now look at this dude. Did he really pull up right next to the bus? Look at him. You know, they use people with great cars. I talk about that lately, right? The use of great vehicles. So he pulls up right behind the bus. And you know why? Because the young Negropean female wearing all black looking at me folding her lips. You know, engaging these sort of subliminal messages. The lies and the manipulation that they tell. Like I tell them, come knock on my door. Because I'm going to take everything from them. Because I know exactly what they did. I know exactly how they did it. And I know exactly why they did it. All right? And when I talk about the agenda of the elites in trying to create a society in which we as black people are going to be microchipped, right? To destroy our leaders as they begin their oppression and to take away our rights. And I've been saying this for decades. See all these gray vehicles come out, black vehicles? Look. See, when I mention certain things, I want you to understand that this was going to come after, because it is part of the coercive persuasion program. It's to bombard you with certain colors using psychological color warfare, right? And I've talked about that, how the use of colors to do what? To manipulate, right? To affect your cognitive ability. And you don't even know. You can't even recognize it. To affect your emotions in a very extreme way, and your thought patterns in a very extreme way. Not a very slight way, but a very extreme way. Okay? All this has been proven. So when I talk about these things, this is what I talk about. To try to create this projection of pitting black men and black women against each other, right? Like, for example, I talk about how they, in the 1990s, Hillary Clinton talk about a new kind of, what do you call, super predators, and a decade later you see young black children engaging in some of the most horrible crimes against each other and against each other and adults as well, right? But only within the black community, right? Only within black people, ethnic, violence, right? Which again perpetrated by white supremacy and by the white society. And it is to keep us from, or to keep the so-called, to keep us from shifting our focus onto what it is that white people are doing to us within the system. That's why I said, black people, particularly I should say Negro people, don't really quite understand the system of white supremacy. As Neely Fuller says, right? They don't understand the system of white supremacy and how it engage in systematically removing our leaders within the society and giving you a leader or a bunch of leaders who does nothing for you and for us, right? Only to bask in their own egotistical self and whatever monetary reward they get out of pacifying black people by the broader white society. But when it comes to grassroots, this is, again, and I just remember this too, about the Ferguson situation with the killing of Michael Brown and the young black activists that were all suspiciously, that's to say that all suspiciously died under suspicious circumstances, right? It is to systematically, again, remove, right, black people, men and women, who see the system for what it is to get rid of any type of community organizers, community activists. It is the elite war on the civilian population, but particularly against black people, right? Then the FBI, according to the pro memo, is to prevent what? The rise of a black messiah, a black person, or black individuals who have the ability to unite black people. Okay? This is what they do. And I keep telling you guys that they've developed technology in order to prevent that, right? But, Nigerians don't want to listen, they just want to believe. They don't want to know anything. They just want to believe. There you go. With all the talk about people getting on the bus without paying, I get on some of the buses and the machine don't work. I'm not saying this one, I'm just saying I've been getting on a lot of buses where the machine don't work. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, think about it, right? With all the talk about, fare beaters and all this nonsense, yet during the week there's at least 5 or 6 buses that I get on that the machine's not working. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting how it works, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's interesting the shit that they say, and then the machines don't even damn work. It's what you call an oxymoron, right? All right, man.
All right, brother.